Hello, my dear children. Myself Sujata. Today we'll learn about Hitler's rise to power, the destruction of democracy, reconstruction, Nazi worldview, and about the racial utopia. Before that, let us recap what we learned in the last class. In the last class, we learned that Germany, a powerful empire in the early years of 20th century, fought First World War alongside the Austrian Empire and against the Allies, that is England, France, and Russia. They expected a quick victory, but the war stretched on, draining its resources. Allies got strengthened by the US entry in 1917 and they won, defeating Germany and the Central Powers in November 1918. Abdication of the emperor gave an opportunity to parliamentary parties to recast German polity. A national assembly met at Weimar in the year 1990, February 6th, and established a democratic constitution with a federal structure. Versailles Peace Treaty was signed with the Allies. As a compensation, Germany had to pay about 6 billion euros. The war brought psychological, economic, and social impacts on the German society. And during the year 1924 to 1928, we could see years of depression. Wall Street exchange crashed. US economic support was withdrawn. It resulted in fear of proletarianism, unemployment, and sharp fall in agricultural prices and hunger, and fall of Weimar Republic, and there we could see the rise of Hitler. Talking about the rise of Hitler, the crisis in the economy, polity, and society formed the background to Hitler's rise to power. Let us know about Hitler. Adolf Hitler. He was born in 1889 in Austria. Hitler spent his youth in poverty. When the First World War broke out, he enrolled for the army and acted as a messenger in the front and became a corporal and earned medals for bravery. The German defeat horrified him and the Versailles Treaty made him furious. In 1919, he joined a small group called the German Workers' Party. He subsequently took over the organization and renamed it the National Socialist German Workers' Party. This party came to be known as the Nazi Party. In 1923, Hitler planned to seize control of Bavaria, march to Berlin, and capture power. He failed and was arrested, tried for treason, and later released. The Nazis could not effectively mobilize popular support till the early 1930s. Talking about the rise of Nazism, it was during the Great Depression that Nazism became a mass movement. As we have seen, after 1929, banks collapsed and businesses shut down. Workers lost their jobs and the middle classes were threatened with destitution. In such a situation, Nazi propaganda stirred hopes of a better future. In 1928, the Nazi Party got no more than 2.6% votes in the Reichstag, that is the German parliament. By 1932, it had become the largest party with 37% votes. And the political advertisement was done through the use of posters, films, speeches, etc. Okay, let us try to understand the power of Hitler. Hitler was a powerful speaker. His passion and his words moved people. He promised to build a strong nation, undo the injustice of the Versailles Treaty, and restore the dignity of the German people. The war guilt imposed on Germany humiliated Germany by forcing it to accept all blame for the war, and it imposed disastrously costly war reparations that destroyed both the post World War I German economy and the democratic Weimar Republic. He promised employment for those looking for work and a secure future for the youth. He promised to weed out all foreign influences and resist all foreign conspiracies against Germany. Now let us talk about Nazi uprising. Hitler devised a new style of politics. He understood the significance of rituals and spectacle in mass mobilization. Nazis held massive rallies and public meetings to demonstrate the support for Hitler and instill a sense of unity among the people. The red banners with the swastika, the Nazi salute, and the ritualized rounds of applause after the speeches were all part of this spectacle of power. Nazi propaganda skillfully projected Hitler as a messiah, a savior, as someone who had arrived to deliver people from their distress. It is an image that captured the imagination of a people whose sense of dignity and pride had been shattered and who were living in a time of acute economic and political crisis. This resulted in the destruction of democracy. On 30th January 1933, President Hindenburg offered the chancellorship, the highest position in the cabinet of ministers, to Hitler. By now, the Nazis had managed to rally the conservatives to their cause. Having acquired power, Hitler set out to dismantle the structures of democratic rule. A mysterious fire that broke out in the German parliament building in February facilitated his move. The fight decree of 28 February 1933 indefinitely suspended civic rights like freedom of speech, press, and assembly that had been guaranteed by the Weimar Constitution. Then he turned on his archenemies, the communists, most of whom were hurriedly packed off to the newly established concentration camps. The repression of the communists was severe. Out of the surviving 6,808 arrest files of Dusseldorf, a small city of half a million population, 1,440 were those of communists alone. There were, however, only one types of victims persecuted by the Nazis across the country. Okay, now let us talk about the dictatorship in Germany. On 3rd March 1933, the famous Enabling Act was passed. This act established dictatorship in Germany. It gave Hitler all powers to sideline parliament and rule by degree. All political parties and trade unions were banned except for the Nazi Party and its affiliates. The state established complete control over the economy, media, army, and judiciary. Special surveillance and security forces were created to control and order society in ways that the Nazis wanted. Apart from the already existing regular police in green uniform and the SA or the stormtroopers, these included the Gestapo, that is a secret state police, the SS, the protection squads, criminal police, and the security service. It was the extra constitutional powers of these newly organized forces that gave the Nazi state its reputation as the most dreaded criminal state. People could now be detained in Gestapo torture chambers, rounded up and sent to concentration camps, deported at will, or arrested without any legal procedures. The police forces acquired powers to rule with impunity. Impunity means exemption from punishment. Concentration camp is a camp where people were isolated and detained without due process of law. Typically, it was surrounded by electrified barbed wire fences. Okay, now let us see how economy was restored in Germany. State-funded work creation program was organized. Hitler assigned the responsibility of economic recovery to the economist Hjalmar Schacht, who aimed at full production and full employment through a state-funded work creation program. This project produced the famous German superhighways and the people's car, the Volkswagen. The foreign policy also Hitler acquired quick successes. He pulled out of the League of Nations in 1933, reoccupied the Rhineland in 1936, and integrated Austria in Germany in 1938 under the slogan One People, One Empire, and One Leader. He then went on to wrest German speaking Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia and gobbled up the entire country. In all of this, he had the unspoken support of England, which had considered the Versailles verdict too harsh. These quick successes at home and abroad seemed to reverse the destiny of the country. Hitler did not stop here. Schacht had advised Hitler against investing hugely in rearmament as the state still ran on deficit financing. Cautious people, however, had no place in Nazi Germany. Schacht had to leave. Hitler chose war as the way out of the approaching economic crisis. Okay, now let us know about the expansion of German territory. Resources were to be accumulated through expansion of territory. In September 1939, Germany invaded Poland. This started a war with France and England. In September 1940, a tripartite pact was signed between Germany, Italy, and Japan, strengthening Hitler's claim to international power. Puppet regimes supportive of Nazi Germany were installed in a large part of Europe. By the end of 1940, Hitler was at the pinnacle of his power. Hitler now moved to achieve his long-term aim of conquering Eastern Europe. He wanted to ensure food supplies and living space for Germans. He attacked the Soviet Union in June 1941. In this historic blunder, Hitler exposed the German Western Front to British aerial bombing and the Eastern Front to the powerful Soviet armies. The Soviet Red Army inflicted a crushing and humiliating defeat on Germany at Stalingrad. After this, the Soviet Red Army hounded out the retreating German soldiers until they reached the heart of Berlin, establishing Soviet hegemony over the entire Eastern Europe for half a century thereafter. Hegemony means the political, economic, or military control of one state over others. Okay, now look at this map. This map of Nazi power in the year 1942. Okay, now let us know about USA and the World War II. Meanwhile, the USA had resisted involvement in the war. It was unwilling to once again face all the economic problems that the First World War had caused. But it could not stay out of the war for long. Japan was expanding its power in the east. It had occupied French Indochina and was planning attacks on US naval bases in the Pacific. When Japan extended its support to Hitler and bombed the US base at Pearl Harbor, the US entered the Second World War. The war ended in May 1945 with Hitler's defeat and the US dropping of the atom bomb on Hiroshima in Japan. Okay, now we will have a look at Nazi criminality during the World War II. First, we'll talk about the racial hierarchy. The crimes that Nazis committed were linked to a system of belief and a set of practices. Nazi ideology was synonymous with Hitler's worldview. According to this, there was no equality between people, but only a racial hierarchy. In his view, blonde, blue eyed, Nordic German Aryans were at the top, while Jews were located at the lowest rung. They came to be regarded as an anti race, the arch enemies of the Aryans. All other colored people were placed in between depending upon their external features. Hitler's racism borrowed from thinkers like Charles Darwin and Herbert Spencer. Darwin was a natural scientist who tried to explain the creation of plants and animals through the concept of evolution and natural selection. Herbert Spencer later added the idea of survival of the fittest. According to this idea, only those species survived on Earth that could adapt themselves to changing climatic conditions. Darwin never advocated human intervention in what he thought was a purely natural process of selection. However, his ideas were used by racist thinkers and politicians to justify imperial rule over conquered people. Okay, now let us talk about the Nazi arguments. The Nazi argument was simple: the strongest race would survive and the weak ones would perish, as according to the theory of Charles Darwin and Herbert Spencer. The Aryan race was the finest. It had to retain its purity, become stronger, and dominate the world. The other aspect of Hitler's ideology related to the geopolitical concept of Lebensraum, or living space. He believed that new territories had to be acquired for settlement. This would enhance the area of the mother country while enabling the settlers on new lands to retain an intimate link with the place of their origin. It would also enhance the material resources and power of the German nation. Hitler intended to extend German boundaries by moving eastwards to concentrate all Germans geographically in one place. Poland became the laboratory for this experimentation. Okay, now let us know about the establishment of the racial state. Once in power, the Nazis quickly began to implement their dream of creating an exclusive racial community of pure Germans by physically eliminating all those who were seen as undesirable in the extended empire. Nazis wanted only a society of pure and healthy Nordic Aryans. They alone were considered desirable. Only they were seen as worthy of prospering and multiplying against all others who were classed as undesirable. This meant that even those Germans or abnormal had no right to exist. Under the euthanasia program, Nazi officials had condemned to death many Germans who were considered mentally or physically unfit. Jews were not the only community classified as undesirable, there were others. Who were the undesirables? Many gypsies and blacks living in Nazi Germany were considered as racial inferiors who threatened the biological purity of the superior Aryan race. They were widely persecuted. Even Russians and Poles were considered subhuman and hence undeserving of any humanity. When Germany occupied Poland and parts of Russia, captured civilians were forced to work as slave labor. Many of them died simply through hard work and starvation. Okay, the worst affected was the Jews. Jews remained the worst sufferers in Nazi Germany. Nazi hatred of Jews had a precursor in the traditional Christian hostility towards Jews. They had been stereotyped as killers of Christ and Lazarus. Until medieval times, Jews were barred from owning land. They survived mainly through trade and money lending. They lived in separately marked areas called ghettos. They were often persecuted through periodic organized violence and expulsion from the land. However, Hitler's hatred of Jews was based on pseudo scientific theories of race, which held that conversion was no solution to the Jewish problem. It could be solved only through their total elimination. From 1933 to 38, the Nazis terrorized, pauperized, and segregated the Jews, compelling them to leave the country. The next phase, 1939 to 1945, aimed at concentrating them in certain areas and eventually killing them in gas chambers in Poland. Okay, what do we mean by the racial utopia? Under the shadow of war, the Nazis proceeded to realize their murderous racial ideal. Genocide and war became two sides of the same coin. Occupied Poland was divided up. Much of northwestern Poland was annexed to Germany. Poles were forced to leave their homes and properties behind to be occupied by ethnic Germans brought in from occupied Europe. Poles were then herded like cattle in the other part called the general government, the destination of all undesirables of the empire. Members of the Polish intelligentsia were murdered in large numbers in order to keep the entire people intellectually and spiritually servile. Polish children who looked like Aryans were possibly snatched from their mothers and examined by race experts. If they passed the race test, they were raised in German families, and if not, they were deposited in orphanages where most perished. With some of the largest ghettos and gas chambers, the general government also served as the killing fields for the Jews. Okay, let us recap what we have learned in this session. We talked about the failed Weimar Republic, how Hitler rise to power, the destruction of democracy, the rise of dictatorship, the cause of the Second World War, Nazi worldview, establishment of the racial state, who were called as the undesirables, and the racial utopia. Okay, to understand it clearly, go through the slides again and again and do the activities given in the textbook. Meet you in the next session. Thank you.